The sutra is like a sun. It is as effulgent and it is as effulgent and as bright as the sun. But the way you are explaining the Vedanta Sutra, your explanations are acting like a cloud which is shadowing the very meaning of the sutras, creating an eclipse effect. See Mahaprabhu saying, Sutrera artha bhashya kahe prakashiya tumi bhashya kaha Sutrera artha achadiya. Sutrera artha bhashya kahe prakashiya. It is self-effulgent. Anybody can understand that. But the way you are explaining, your explanation is artha achadiya. You have eclipsed the very meaning of the sutras. You have eclipsed the very meaning of the sutras. And then Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu starts explaining. He starts explaining one verse he took, Atma Ramasya Muneyo Nirgantha Vyurkume. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the bhakti explanations of this verse. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was blown up. His conceptions were blown up. He was awakened as if to reality. He was in a dream state, all the fog. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's explanation, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya could understand everything. He could understand the incompleteness and the futility of the Mayavadi impersonalistic philosophy. He could understand the completeness and the sweetness of the personalistic conception of the Lord. He could understand the power and the perfectness, the acme of the perfection of the path of bhakti. So Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu transformed him, no doubts. Now this transformation is many times a surgical operation. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed a surgery, no doubts. But he performed a surgery in such a sweet manner. This is Vaishnava. That even if a Vaishnava, so Vaishnava does not pamper, okay, whatever you are doing, okay, no problem. Na? Keep giving us favors and donations and keep doing the nonsense what you are doing. The devotee doesn't go to that. Mahaprabhu didn't do that. Mahaprabhu performed surgery and transformed. Bhattacharya became from dry cake, he became a devotee. At one meeting. But to bring him to that point of opening his heart, Mahaprabhu sat down whole day, 7 days, tolerated his nonsense with a smile, accepting his service attitude. Not exactly the word what he was speaking, but his attitude to serve. And then in such a sweet and respectful manner, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu transformed him. Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani Sudarshan Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. You will see the same kind of behavior in dealings with Prakashananda Saraswati also in Banaras. When Prakashananda Saraswati had called, she invited Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for a conference. And he had thousands of sannyasi disciples and brahmacharis and grihasthas unlimited. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat at the very last, where people were actually washing their hands. That place Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat. And from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's whole divine form, the effulgence was coming. Maybe Mayavadi is attracted to effulgence. So Prakashananda Saraswati got a bit attracted. What is this? And he came at the back and he's seeing Mahaprabhu sitting and he's saying, "Oh, you're a sannyasi, why don't you come up on the stage and sit with us on the stage? You're also sannyasi." So he takes Mahaprabhu up. We're just roaming around on the streets and singing sentimentally. The reply Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave again is very astounding. No, I think the Atmarama explanation was given to Prakashana and Saraswati. Sarvabhauma. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. No, that is the beginning. So, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling that my spiritual master, my guru, he understood I am a fool. So he told me, for you, it's good enough to chant. And therefore I am just chanting. This is Mahaprabhu's first answer. This answer won the heart of everyone. Mahaprabhu's humility won the heart of everyone. Then when Mahaprabhu starts speaking, all of them surrendered to him on the spot. Prakashana and Saraswati and 60,000 sannyasi disciples took initiation from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah. One time surgery. Prakashananda Saraswati, But Mahaprabhu, the way Mahaprabhu dealt, the way Mahaprabhu's humility, Mahaprabhu's gentleness, would melt their hearts. And then Mahaprabhu's philosophy would go straight in and purify them. So Mahaprabhu's anesthesia was his humble and gentle behavior. This is the Vaishnava's weapon. Now, this is the Vaishnava's weapon actually. His sweet acharan, the gentlemanly acharan, that was Mahaprabhu's weapon. This weapon is more powerful than anesthesia. Because if this weapon is there, people don't mind. Very powerful. So I remember I was in second year and third year, and the voice had just started. But there was no much place for us to stay, so we had to stay in the hostel and come for 4 o'clock morning program, and we used to take prasad in the, but there was no place to stay. There were only 2 rooms. The construction was going on. It took some 6 months, and it took 6-8 months for the construction to happen. Then we started staying. Initially, there was no facility to stay. Only 2 rooms. One room the preachers would stay, another room was temple hall. That's all. Small rooms, 10 by 10. Small rooms, no much big, very small. 10 by 10. That's all. Like down rooms we have, same size, 2 rooms. That is how it was. We were 11-12 of us, our group. So when I was seeing this Krishna conscious lifestyle, which we had not, it was so attractive. So I used to feel very enthusiastic. I wanted to be a part of everything, like that. So whenever I would have afternoon off, I would come back, and these brahmacharis they were there, and they would be discussing and reading from Bhagavatam, and I would go into the room and sit, and hear the Bhagavatam class also every time. And every time, like that. Other times I would be just doing parikrama around the room, So if something is there, I can go, or I can talk to them, or I can learn something from them. Because this philosophy and the genuineness with which they were practicing was very attractive. And so Brajavachi Prabhu was there, and Shamarup Prabhu was there. They stayed with us 2 months. That was the first time, and then Shamarup Prabhu went, and Balagovinda Prabhu came. Like that, the first semester they stayed with us throughout. Every single day they were staying with us. They had come from Pune. They were Pune temple. Later, Radheshampur sent a team of devotees to Calcutta permanently, and then the project was handed over to Calcutta temple. At that time, it was from Pune only, like that. So now So one time Shamaru Prabhu had called me in the afternoon, and I was very enthusiastic. So I was, and any service would be there anytime, whether in kitchen or here or there, anywhere, I was always. Rajavasi Prabhu gave me a lot of services. One day in the afternoon, Shamarubu called me. He said, come here. I said, yes, Prabhuji, Haribol, Haribol, like that. So he also said, Haribol, and then he started saying, he said, I said, yes, he said, there are some devotees. I said, oh, some devotees, okay, yes, there are some devotees, yes, Prabhu, He said, there are some devotees, they are like a flower pot. And I was wondering, why only flower? The devotees should be like flower, not flower pot, So I didn't understood that very much, Then he explained, no, flower pot is that Diwali flower pot. Diwali. In Diwali, use in Hindi you call it as anar. Its English equivalent is flower pot. Anar. Anar. You give ignition to it, some nice flames come out. For some time it goes up, and then it goes down. It comes out like a gush, very powerful. As you give ignition, like that, a very nice display comes out, like a fountain. A fiery fountain. Fiery droplets kind of thing, and then that fountain comes up, like that. So Prabhu said there are some devotees. They are like an anar, a flower pot. See, showing flower pot. So they are like an anar. When the Krishna consciousness, the ignition is given to them, then their performance is par excellence. They are top of the world performance of enthusiasm, of commitment, of sincerity, and this and that. But you go for 2 minutes inside to drink water. By the time you come back, the flower pot is finished. Where it went? And then he said, so some devotees are like that. Their enthusiasm and their their commitment is like a flower pot. It is capturing the entire scenery, but it only remains for a short time, and then it goes down. Never to come up again. So, and I was saying, yes, Prabhuji, some devotees are like a flower pot. Yes, Prabhuji, yes, Hari bol, And then he looked at me, and he paused, and he was smiling, and I also smiled. Sure enough, I didn't understood, I didn't understand, And then he patted at me, started patting me, and he said, don't worry, you are not like that, I said, yes, Prabhuji, Hari bol, Prabhuji, He said, okay, now we can go. So I understood the meaning of it after 2 months. So it took me around, it took me around 1.5 to 2 months to understand the meaning of it. One day I was just sitting and reading Bhagavatam, and then I was Prabhupada books. And then I was meditating, I just remembered that incident, and then I understood the meaning by Krishna's mercy, So Prabhu was addressing whom? Prabhu was telling me actually that make sure your enthusiasm is very steady. Don't be like a flower pot. So do things in a way, plan things in a way that whatever you undertake, you can do lifelong. Don't just be spiky, or too much enthusiastic and then down. Like that. So he was giving me a very great lesson. Correction, you can say, warning, you can say, chastisement, you can say, anything you can say, like that. But it was so sweet, that I couldn't catch it only. Means it took me a good time to catch it. This is Vaishnava behavior, you see. He didn't say, he didn't shout at me, what is this, you're jumping up and down like a monkey, why will you, when will you mature, when will you behave yourself, like that, why don't you do things in a systematic way, a mature manner, nonsense, simply jumping up and down like a monkey and chimpanzee, like that. He could have said like that, immediately I would have understood what he's saying, like that, but he said it in such a sweet way, like that. This is Vaishnava Acharan, you see. This is Vaishnava Acharan. So devotee should be, uh, uh, see, we can deal in any shabby way or in any way. Only thing, before our dealings, we have to always calculate whether this will help the person, make the person, or break the person, like that. The other day we were discussing about Srila Prabhupada appreciating a Western lady in mini clothes, saying that, okay, you're looking very beautiful. That one sentence was the only thing which was missing. That giving some appreciation and warmth. Yeah. That was the only thing that was missing. She just wanted some warmth from devotees, some acceptance from devotees. That's all. Which nobody else was giving. Prabhupada gave that. That's it. That 5 minutes changes her life. So devotee should be very ideal in one's character. Devotee should be very ideal in one's character. There is a Prabhupada quote on that. Okay, let me try to. So one time we were in Mayapur, and then it was ILS ISKCON Leadership Sangha going on, and we heard one seminar of Devamrit Maharaj. Devamrit Maharaj was narrating an incident. So Devamrit Maharaj became a sannyasi proper times. Devamrit Maharaj is himself a graduate from Yale, Connecticut. A very prestigious college. So he had he was well educated, very high prestigious education he got. So Devamrit Maharaj, so he became a sannyasi, and then he was rendering so much services in Prabhupada's mission. Devamrit Maharaj was telling about his brother. His brother was in US. Definitely, Devamrit Maharaj was he's a US citizen. Now he's based in Australia, New Zealand, basically. And Maharaj comes to America. Maharaj's area is just above the Boston, Massachusetts area. Gitanagari is under Devamrit Maharaj presently. Gitanagari, yes. Jai Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani Sudarshan Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So Maharaj's brother, he started developing a lot of appreciation about Maharaj. But he never was so much extroverted to discuss his thoughts and feelings and all that. His brother was studying law. He was a very sharp, astute law student. He was studying law. And his brother thought that, okay, he will study law, and when he accomplishes his degree and becomes capable of doing something, he would want to render service in ISKCON law and help ISKCON. So many cases, law cases were against ISKCON and all that. So he even did his BTech project under studying ISKCON cases. The cases, the legal cases against ISKCON. There were a lot of cases because a lot of troubles were there. A lot of exploitators were there. People had done property, like that Juhu case, that person had sold property to 4 people, and the 4th was Srila Prabhupada, That was a very cheater fellow, Gunda, Mr. Nair. So that he sold that property. And then, like that, there were cases in the West also of cheating, and some people had given court cases that, okay, these are brainwashing movement, or this kind of. In India, they used to feel they are CIA. In the West, they would feel that they are. So a lot of problems were there. So he did his BTP on that. So he knew each and every legal case against ISKCON. Only he was trying to make himself capable to do some service. But he never shared his thoughts, his plans, his ideas with Maharaj. Because sometimes person of So when his brother, he prepared himself for 4 years. He became the gold medalist in the university. Now this is United States going on. The top medical law college, I mean in the top law college of United States he studies, and he got the top rank in that. And when he graduated, the first thing he did is he went to the ISKCON temple in that city. And he was so enthusiastic. He was so enthusiastic because he was preparing to equip himself to become capable to fight on behalf of ISKCON and to defend ISKCON legally and to be the legal sword for ISKCON. And sure enough, not only, I mean, he graduated from the top law school of United States, he got the top rank there also, like that. And he came to the temple, and he was so enthusiastic, and he was looking for devotees to share his proposal. He never shared all this with his brother ever, Maharaj, because Maharaj was based in Australia, New Zealand and all that, that was his main area. He never shared that. So he went to the temple. He found a brahmachari. He started sharing his plan that I can serve for the law and all. And then he started explaining how he has done, how he's prepared himself. How he's not just sentimentally talking. He has done, he has done his thesis on that, and he's prepared himself, and he can defend, and he can, like that. That brahmachari did not even hear him fully. He cut him down in between. He said, okay. We have our own lawyer, If we need your services, we'll let you know. This gentleman on that spot, he was shattered. This brahmachari went away, He was busy and he went away, like that. He was so shattered. 4 years, 5 years, he would have prepared himself to be able to equip himself to do that service, and that was his cherished dream, to do that service for ISKCON. And here he came. The devotee didn't deal with him nicely. His brother was shattered, And then Maharaj was explaining that now what his brother is doing, because he got shattered. Then he, definitely he joined one of the top $1 billion companies, like that, and he is the legal head of that company. And he married a lady who is also, from the law, Both of them are, handling the whole legal thing for this multi-billion-dollar company, They could have done that for ISKCON, Why they did not do that? Mistreatment, So therefore, we should never be cold in our dealings, They should never be cold. We should learn from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like that. So gentlemanly behavior is all about, very ideal dealings, like that, very respectful dealings. Any person who comes to us, be very respectfully dealt with. Let's stop here for today. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today 6:45 p.m. we will have our game class.